Hey everybody, I'm back with a new Harry Potter movie review covering Prisoner of Azkaban. Uh, Now, you might have to pardon me a little bit. I'm just getting over a bit of a cold, so my voice is still not all the way there, but I really wanted to do this review irregardless. So, before I continue, please like this video, leave a comment below, let me know which is your favorite Harry Potter film. Anyway, just gonna cover a few things. This movie is directed by Alfonso Cuarón, and we got the typical cast returning, but we now have Michael Gambon, the late Michael Gambon, who reprised the role of, or at least taking over the role of Albus Dumbledore when the previous guy who passed away. Uh, we got Gary Oldman as Sirius Black. Uh, Fiona Shaw as Petunia Dursley. Uh, uh, Timothy Spall as Peter Pettigrew. David Thewlis as Remus Lupin. And Emma Thompson as Sybil Trelawney. So yeah. So we begin with, of course, Lame Summer ending. The summer is ending where now 13-ish, or at least getting past 13, Harry Potter dealing with now the aunt, his uncle's sister, visiting, and not unlike the other Dursleys, very mean-spirited and talking mad crap about Harry's parents, which obviously he just not tolerate. So he accidentally kind of magicked his aunt into an inflated balloon. So he decides, okay, like I just had enough of this crap, and I know I'm going to get possibly in trouble with Hogwarts for using magic in the open in front of Muggles, even though of his close knit family who's already fully aware of his magic abilities, is just not the aunt. But the fact that she got floated in the air is like, yeah, it's hard pressed not to see that. So he gathered his stuff and just like, I had enough of this crap, because he's not technically a kid anymore, but he reached to the point where it's like, I'm just gathering my crap. I'm moving the heck out of this. So he gathered his things. Probably doesn't know what to do at this point. He's got to figure it out, or at least hopefully figure out a way to make his way to somebody he knows, like Ron or somebody. But then, right when he looked like he's about to get, attacked by some vicious looking dog, the this ghostly bus, what is it called? The night bus, just shows up out of semi nowhere and picks him up. Now this bus is meant to pick up wayward witch and wizards who were abandoned, who are left abandoned or orphaned, I guess. Don't know if they ever showed up when Harry was a baby, because technically that would be the case where he didn't have nobody. But anyway, so the bus ends up taking Harry to the what's that alley, the Leaky Cauldron, and this creepy little dude who kind of looks like Igor from like the assistant of Dr. Frankenstein. Constantly trying to offer Harry like a drink and snacks and stuff like that. It was kind of stupid. It was funny, but the Minister of Magic informs Harry that he won't be getting in trouble. They saw that pretty quickly with the whole aunt situation. Uh, so uh, after they did after the minister uh, provided Harry the new school books for the following new year, uh, he walks. Next day he walks downstairs and finds Harry. Finds Ron and Hermione. With Ron's family there as well, and the Ron's father pulled Harry to the side. Oh, because I kind of skipped over this part. On the bus, Harry noticed a newspaper. The not the driver, but the attendant was reading, and it was a wanted photo or an animated photograph of this escapee from Azkaban named Sirius Black. And the rumor is that he is an underling of Voldemort, and Ron's dad expressed to Harry that you should not go out your way to try to find this guy because he is looking to kill you. So, and this is kind of like a big deal because he's the only person that ever had escaped Azkaban. Is pretty much unheard of. As soon as the kids are on the Hogwarts Express, everything just stops, and the bus is visited by these Dementors who are the pretty much prison guards of Azkaban, and they have the ability to kind of like suck out any type of good memories that you might have. The only thing that will be left is all your miserable memories. It's kind of like put you in like a perpetual state of depression and melancholy. And one approaches Harry, but this sleeping guy on the train cart with Harry and the others turns out to be the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, Lupin, who used a Patronus charm to repel this Dementor. And cut to the quick, he's not a bad guy in this, but it's always like previously it's always been like because growing up always gonna be like a thought, because I didn't read the entire book series when I was a kid, but as I was going through the movies and after the first two books I did read, I thought it would be some kind of gimmick where it's like, oh, every Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher happens to be some kind of bad guy in some kind of fashion. And it's like, this shouldn't be like a class or a teacher anymore, because any new person they hire for this class always turns out to be a bad guy in some fashion. They broke the cycle in this go around. I think J.K. Rowling was kind of smart, because like, okay, I can't keep pulling this stuff because people will just assume it's kind of like the butler did it kind of situation. Oh, the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher did it kind of situation. Broke that cycle immediately. Anyway, as soon as they, arrive at the school, Dumbledore expressed to the students that there will be like a curfew. Don't go out at a certain time or a certain area, because the Dementors are pretty much patrolling the surrounding area because everybody knows that Sirius Black is probably going to be making his way to Hogwarts. So that's where they kind of like set up shop. Hagrid is pretty much taking over as like a new teacher now, pretty much like teaching kids about different animals or whatever. What's the care of the magical creatures kind of teacher. I'm surprised that wasn't like a thing. Oh no, it was a thing before. The previous teacher was retired, so Hagrid pretty much took over. Anyway, and there was like a thing going on with Hermione where she just keep popping up randomly in certain areas, and pretty much gaslight her friends, telling her like, "Oh, I was always here." It's like, no, the heck you weren't. Why are you lying? Especially these two of your closest friends. Anyway, and they really, this movie really put Ron through unnecessary paces. It's like, why y'all abusing this poor kid? And he is kind of whiny, more so in this film that I remember. It's always like a crying, frowny face that he always does in this film. More so than in the previous two films. It was like, no, leave me alone. And it's like I know he's not an adult and he's not a kid. He's in that Rudy Huxtable stage where there's that awkward teen phase, and it's like, God, kid, grow some balls. And of course, there's also subtle hints that they're seeding here in this film, with Ron and Hermione's getting kind of close. Anyway, of course, earlier in the film, Harry was trying to get his uncle to sign this form, pretty much similar to, if you remember, those kind of field trips from school where you got to, in order to go somewhere, you got to have your parents sign the permission slip. And since they're his guardians, he kind of counted on them to fill out his form, because third year students will, for the first, at least certain students, I'm not sure which year, but certain students are for the first time allowed to visit Hogsmeade, with, of course, the teachers escorting the students. But Harry couldn't go because he couldn't get his uncle to sign the dang form, and Professor McGonagall, the foster parents, or at least these awful aunt and uncle that you left him in the care of, and you knew from the first movie, because you remember earlier in the first movie, she mentions that she watched the family in her cat form, and you said it yourself, they're the awful bunch of muggles you ever seen, and yet it's like you don't, feel bad or make some kind of excuse or some kind of leeway giving Harry circumstances. I know you don't want to play favoritism, but I think he's in a unique situation where he obviously want to go, and certain things that require a parent or a guardian to give consent to do certain activities. Harry's one of those unique positions where it's like, you gotta let him go. You knew full well these awful muggles weren't going to let him go. They barely even tried to give him, let him go to Hogwarts in the first place in the first film. You think for 1 second that they was going to sign a permission slip so he can do some fun activity that he was going to enjoy himself? They don't even barely let him enjoy anything at home. Why would you think that it's like, what is wrong with you, lady? It's like, let this particular moment slide. Especially given his, tragic parental history. Yeah, you kind of, gotta give some kind of leeway. It's just like, it make no doggone sense. But eventually he just got fed up with it and used his visible cloak to try to sneak to Hogsmeade. However, he got stopped by Ron's twin brothers, and they provided him this enchanted map. What was this map called? Um, Marauders map. But again, a bit ahead of myself. But earlier, um, uh, during the class with Hagrid for the first time, we meet up with this enchanted creature named Buckbeak, who's like a Griffith. Uh, uh, is it? It's not Griffith. It's some. What do you call it? Hippogriff. Like I call it a Griffith. Hippogriff. And Harry managed to tame it and allow him to fly it around Hogwarts grounds. But of course, Draco, being like a jealous little piece of, you know, uh, piece of crap, uh, he ends up getting hurt by this thing, and so now his dad, his rich dad, is upset and wants that animal put to death. And because he's high in up in the ministry, he kind of have some kind of say so. And it's like, why y'all letting this guy get so much leeway? Of course, they go through the whole legal system, but when it comes right down, it's like you got a bunch of witnesses, not just Hagrid, but a bunch of witnesses can corroborate the fact that, hey, Draco messed around with his animal, not supposed to, didn't listen to the teacher. So there's nothing else to be said. But somehow he's just getting that kind of leeway to allow this animal to get put down. So Hagrid, of course, is upset. So they try to comfort Hagrid, but you know, but it's there's nothing they can do about it, and Dumbledore couldn't have any kind of he couldn't do nothing about it either. So the only thing he can do is offer some kind of comfort by being there with Hagrid during that moment. But crap. But then that fat lady who is like the doorway to the Gryffindor's Commodores. Her picture frame is slashed, and she says that was it was Sirius Black. He's in the grounds, so now everything is on complete lockdown, and all the students pretty much have to huddle in like very close, being oversaw by teachers. It's like, man, every year is always something with this school, and it's like hardly any kind of just normal peaceful year without any kind of like craziness going on or some kind of mystery that needs to be solved. And it's like, God, have y'all ever gone through like a normal school year where people just go to class, do their lessons, without any kind of craziness going on? More than just maybe some kids fighting or something. Anyway, so during like a Quidditch match, which they put in really, I guess they put all their energy into Quidditch into the first movie, but since then we barely having some time with Quidditch at all, which is okay. I guess that it served its purpose for the most part. But here during a match, Harry is once again attacked by a Dementor, and thanks to Dumbledore, who slowed his descent after his broom fell into the Whomping Willow, cracked in half. I guess, irreparable. Even though you probably have spells to, you literally have a spell called Reparo that repairs Harry's glasses. You mean to tell me you couldn't use that same magic to repair the Nimbus 2000? But I guess that's the point. Time for an upgrade because eventually does get an upgraded one. Um, but um, Harry eventually overhears about uh, uh, he overhears about like uh, uh, more information from the teachers about Sirius Black and how close he was to uh, his parents. So using the Marauders map, he uh because well, he used the cloak to sneak onto Hogsmeade, follow McGonagall and the Minister of Magic and another teacher. Excuse me. And he overhears the fact that Sirius Black was uh uh uh, uh supposed to be Harry's godfather, nominated as the godfather by Harry's parents. And this, I don't know why you don't sit this kid down, because sure, probably in the first two movies he was too young to know the full scope of things, but I think this is an appropriate age where you can actually tell him enough information. You keep too much stuff from this kid that he had to sneak around and find out secondhand. So of course he's upset at the fact that now he realized the person who's supposed to have been close friends with his parents seemingly betrayed his parents, and now he's after him. So now he's gung-ho to find this guy and get his revenge in some form or fashion. Uh, he used the Marauders map and finds that this Peter Pettigrew, who's supposed to have been dead and also friends with his parents, he sees the Marauders map showing him walking around on the inside Hogwarts. So Harry, at the dead of night, follows the path, ends up bumping into Snape, and then eventually Lupin shows up. And Lupin, who took a shine to Harry, escorts Harry to his classroom and confiscates the Marauders map. And and express to Harry that your parents sacrificed themselves so you can have a life, and it'll be a shame that you're wasting it by going into dangerous stuff that could get you killed, and showing very deep concerns for him. And of course, Harry mentions there's like Peter Pettigrew, who's supposed to have been dead, but I saw his footsteps on the map, so something's up. So after Hermione decks Draco, who talks way too much stuff and pretty much asks for it, they go to witness Buck be put to death by the executioner. And after most of the movie, Ron trying to find his pet rat Scabbards, they get attacked by this black dog who drags Ron underneath the Whomping Willow in this hole leading to like the Shrieking Shack. Ron and Harry and Hermione manage to get past the Whomping Willow inside the Shrieking Shack, and that's where the dog turns into Sirius Black. Turns out Sirius Black is an animus, people who's able to shapeshift into animals. Then Lupin shows up, seemingly working with Black Uh, but it's kind of weird because Black is coming across. I mean, Gary Oldman is playing this role pretty well, but Sirius coming across like like he's on meth or something. And he's not making any kind of sense instead of being very direct. But I get it. He's kind of been on the run and he's kind of like at his wits end. But uh, Lupin's trying to calm the situation down and trying to explain the situation that uh, well, Snape shows up, but Harry uses a spell to knock him out, so you can finally get some clear answers. And uh, Black and Lupin take Ron's rat and force it to turn back into Peter Pettigrew, who was also an animus, who is supposed to have been dead, but he managed to escape because he's the one that betrayed Harry's parents to Voldemort and pinned the blame on Black. That's why he was locked up. And of course, he plays as like a sniveling little rat. It's kind of fitting that he changed form into a rat. It's kind of poetic. Uh, uh, so Harry decides like, no, we'll bring him to Dumbledore so he can be brought up on charges officially. Uh, uh, as soon as they leave the Shrieking Shack, Lupin, who it turns out to be a werewolf, because they kind of leave hints that he, you know, he mysteriously is not around for a certain period of time. Uh, but you can see why. He is a werewolf, not like an animus, very differently, which they ironically study in one of the Snape's classes. But this has gotta be the lamest interpretation of a werewolf I ever seen. And it's like, I don't know. I've seen better looking werewolves. It's like you could have gone the route of the Wolfman from the classic horror movie genre, or something like Van Helsing version of werewolf, or Underworld films version of the werewolf. One of those three. Those three, at least to me, are like good looking versions of werewolves. You went with a bipedal hound, a bipedal kind of a greyhound looking type of werewolf, and it's like it is ugly looking. Peter Pettigrew managed to escape during the confusion, while Snape is keeping the children, all but Harry, back away from being attacked by these uh, wolves. Harry witnesses Sirius Black getting gravely injured in his wolf form, and he chases after Lupin, which now I'm thinking about it, Lupin, I think has like a dog type of name to it, dog meaning to the name. So uh, uh, Harry goes to find Black, who's gravely injured, and then the Dementors start showing up and attack both of them. And Harry doesn't have the strength to use a proper Patronus to fight them back. Then he sees, and this part gets a little confusing as to why it has to take this shape, but he sees this kind of light source in the shape of like a giant stag or a deer-like figure made of pure light, that he somehow confused it as his father. And it that light repels back all the Dementors, and he passes out. He wakes up in an infirmary. Black is in lockup, uh, and Ron is sitting across from him, with like a bandaged leg, and Hermione, Dumbledore talk with Hermione and Dumbledore talk with Harry, explaining the situation, and Dumbledore pretty much dropped hints to Hermione about things about time and be careful what you do with it because you might end up saving more than just one life. Then Hermione pulls out her time turner and puts the chain around her and Harry and spins it 3 times. Each time you spin it, it reverses time by 1 hour. And she explains to Harry that's how she manages to go through all her classes, even though she shouldn't have been able to do so many classes. Because there's moments like in Snape's class, she's trying to, answer questions, about like, werewolves and lycanthrope and all this other stuff, even though Snape tells her like nobody likes to know it all, and what else he said? Don't speak out of turn and blah blah blah. And then in the class where it's kind of like fortune telling kind of class where it's kind of being taught by Emma Thompson, and even though she answers the right questions, the teacher, who is kind of divination type of teacher, says like, yeah, you're very knowledgeable, but I can tell by your hands that, you're studious in terms of books, but you're not really kind of learning through the spirit or through the heart. You're not everything is through the mind all the time, but you're trying to get ahead by like, oh, I know the answers. Because that's the thing with Hermione. It's like, I think her issue, she just, I think it's more so some kind of self-conscious thing or insecurity she's going through, where she is Muggle born, but she trying to prove herself among all these mixed blood people or pure blood people, that she kind of belong here kind of situation. So she figures she could just do all these classes because she managed to get this time turner thing as a gift. And I won't say she's misusing it, but she's definitely not, for somebody who's using time to try to get all her studies done to get ahead and good grades, you don't prioritize time in a meaningful way. You just take the classes as you're going through them and let go of your ego a little bit, lady. Because she storms out of the classroom after she kind of feel like embarrassed or condescended to or whatever. And she's a young kid, so her emotions got the better of her. But I kind of wish she kind of learned a bit of a lesson through this film about like, okay, let me just take a step back and take the classes as they come and not try to get ahead of everybody. Because, being a know-it-all isn't a good quality to have. Anyway, so I love this part because you can see like how the cinematography is pretty good. You see them retracing their steps and trying to avoid getting caught because you're messing the space-time continuum, because it's already against the rules of the world of Hogwarts to mess with time, because you can endanger everybody. And you see moments earlier in the film where some mysterious thing happened. We see that it was a result of future Harry and Hermione. Like, watching from afar themselves talking to Hagrid about the whole Buckbeak situation, and they wonder why is they not leaving right now. The executioner and the Minister of Magic is on his way, and that's where Hermione picks up the fact that she tosses a rock through the window, hitting Harry in the back of the head and breaking a vase, which alerts them that these guys are coming. So they scurry further into the woods as they're watching themselves exit the cabin, and it's like all the stuff is kind of like coming back. I love the way they played it out. The writers were very good, especially with this, because time gets very confusing for a lot of audiences when it's trying to use in movie and TV. You got to make sure it makes some level of sense, because you can confuse people very easily with this. So they end up waiting to allow things to run its course. Then, because they didn't really catch Pettigrew at all. But they managed to save Buckbeak from the executioner's blade, because they couldn't take it away too early, because it will lead to an accusation upon Hagrid's part. Hagrid has to be in the same room or the same presence as the Minister of Magic, so he won't be looked as an accomplice or something. And of course, Dumbledore, who's pretty doggone smart, knew what was going on, so he stalled as much as possible to keep the executioner and the minister's eyes somewhere else. Kind of like misdirect. It's magic. It's misdirection. So they are confused, like, where's the animal? It's like, I don't know. Me and Hagrid is here with you this whole entire time. So it's like, well, executioner, I guess we don't need your services no more. So earlier, past Ron, Hermione, and Harry, what they thought they witnessed was the executioner laying the axe down on Buckbeak's head. Turns out the executioner was just out of frustration, for no unexplicable reason, uses axe on one of the pumpkins there. So also kind of misleading the audience if you're watching this for the first time. So they release Buckbeak into the forest. While they're waiting, they follow a Lupin, and Buckbeak kind of chases him away. And watching from afar, his past self fighting off those Dementors trying to save Sirius Black. Harry says, like, no, my father's gonna show up, and Hermione's trying to express that. I'm like, dude, your father's dead. He's not showing up. And out of his frustration, he just decides to go out there and use the Patronus charm to chase away the Dementors. So what he saw was himself. And the fact that he has to verbalize it in the next scene, I don't think we needed that, personally. But why did you show some kind of stag some stag or deer creature made of light from the perspective of past Harry? That part didn't make any sense. It's like, why is that supposed to be like the, how, like, you go to a family reunion, you got like those kind of family flags. Is Harry's family flag some kind of stag or something like that? And that's probably why it shows some kind of like a deer-like figure, because it doesn't make any sense as to why you saw that. Anyway, they take Buckbeak, rescue Sirius Black out of the holding cell, and Sirius Black mentions how, like, he admired your parents, even though if you read the books and you know the history, yeah, your father as a kid he was a bit of a dick, but I don't think it's a proper time to mention that right now. But because I think somebody, probably Black, or no, it was Lupin, who mentions that it was Harry's mom that kind of changed James for the better. Like I said, instead of making a TV show retelling the same doggone story from the movies, he could just have be a prequel or something, like a straight up prequel. Uh, uh, telling the story of Harry's parents and Snape and all of them as they were children going through 4 years of Hogwarts. Anyway, uh, Black escape on the Hippogriff, and they all run. The both Ron, sorry, Harry and Hermione run back right outside the infirmary room, just when Dumbledore is exiting and pretending like he doesn't know anything what's going on. As soon as they walk through the door, their past selves was just disappearing. So they want to make sure they arrive just as they leaving to close the loop. And then once again, gaslighting poor Ron. Is like, what's going on? They don't treat Ron well at all in this film. He go through his paces, man. That is a shame. It's like, we don't know what you're talking about, Ron. We were here this whole entire time. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, God, shut up. So, the movie ends with Harry get a brand new broom gifted to him by Sirius Black. Clearly it was Sirius Black, but don't know how he got the money to afford a broom, and him purchasing it without getting found out, because he's pretty much on the run, because he still not able to prove his innocence yet. But then also, thanks to Snape, his secret of being like a werewolf is outed, and he decides to resign because, nobody, no parent wants their children being, wants their children's teacher. They don't want their children being taught by a guy who's a werewolf who can probably change at any moment and might hurt them. So he decides to leave and give back the map to Harry. And of course, everything ends with Harry flying on his new broom. And that was Prisoner of Azkaban. I like it enough. It's like this movie and Chamber of Secrets. It's like, it's I guess it's one of those kind of awkward stage type of films. Kind of like you're growing older with these children, so you're in that awkward stage along with them. I don't mind Azkaban. I like it more than Chamber of Secrets, but the next one is Goblet of Fire. That's when things is going to take a massive turn in terms of the narrative arc. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think of Prisoner Azkaban. But like I said, like Gary Oldman and what's his name, who was Lupin, David Thewlis, both of them were great additions to the cast. They were amazing. But anyway, I'll see you guys a little bit later as I get back to playing some more Expedition 33. But leave a comment below, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you all soon. Peace.